Welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. You're done with CAT and IFT, ZAT. Some of you must be writing SNAP as well, right? Many of you must be writing that. Okay, so let's talk about this the examination and like many of you would be writing in the in the second and the third slot. Some of you must have written in the first slot as well, right? So today let us discuss that what are the learnings from snap that you can apply in the upcoming slots. Okay, so one slot is done. Since many of you might not have written the examination, and for those who wrote, so what are the mistakes that they might have committed and how could they improve in the upcoming slot? So let us discuss those things and what should be the strategy of tackling this examination. Right? Remember, it's like like if you call it like a sort of game, like it's like a 2020 game, right? You just have 60 minutes and you have to be as fast as possible. You have 60 questions to answer. So like if you see the exam structure these days, that is like a test game wherein you have enough time to attempt questions, right? And like a cat and IFT, you can call it somewhere in between an ODI kind of structure, and this is a T20 sort of game wherein you have to be very fast. Okay, and like what happens in a T20 game that in a matter of one or two overs, the game changes entirely. So same happens here as well. If you get stuck in one or two questions, the entire equation changes. You get nervous during the examination and then end up screwing up your examination. So we shall discuss that how to handle all such scenarios and what are the key things that you must be keeping in mind from what happened in the first slot and the past years, last year, and what have been some things that are common to snap and strategize accordingly to do well in the examination. Okay, so good afternoon all, welcome to the session. Please do like the session and share it with your friends who are preparing for this examination. Okay, so we have launched this CAT, VAT, PI and VAT program in case you did well in the examinations and now are looking for VAT and PI preparation. You may enroll in this course. Okay, and we also have courses running for CAT 2022 and other MBA entrance examinations. So how many of you appeared in SNAP on 19th of December? How many of you appeared in the examination on 19th of December? How did you find the examination? Or yet to appear? I'm sure that most of you are of the type, because while filling the forms also students were saying that let us fill the last slot, we will have more time to prepare. Okay, so Jyoti appeared for the examination. Okay, Heer appeared, Pratik, Mayank. Okay, so a good number of you appeared for the examination. Many of you would be appearing on 8th and some of you on 16th of January. Okay, so what are the learnings that you must take from the examination? Let us discuss those. What are some strategies? What should be the strategy? How to go about solving this paper? Okay. So what strategy I would recommend for this examination is a 10-10-10 strategy. Okay. So what does it mean? That give 10 minutes to each of the three sections first. Okay. So you have three sections, VA. Okay, VA can be complete easily within 10 minutes. Okay, that does not mean that you have to stick to, I say that 10-10-10, that doesn't mean that you can even complete in 7 to 8 minutes, right? VA can be easily done in 7 to 8 minutes. Okay, so that can be done. So and then switch to QA and your LR section. Okay, so give some time to each of the sections, preferably 10 minutes, right? It's not some hard and fast rule that it is only 10 minutes. Maybe you can give 15 minutes also, right? To understand that what is the difficulty level of the paper. Now, what might have happened in the first slot is people might have assumed that quant is my forte. Okay, yes, it is good, right? I'm also good at quant, right? I did quant, and then later I realized that no, this is difficult, right? This is not the typical snap quant. It was difficult than what is usually asked in snap. Okay, so that is why I say that give just 10 minutes to each of the sections, so that you understand that which is a section which is going which is acting as a trap in the paper, and which is a section in which you can easily score. For example, in the first lot, LR was very easy, right? Verbal was also easy, but this was difficult, isn't it? It was a little difficult as compared to the typical snap paper. On the other hand, the other two sections were very easy. So you knew that quant mein, like you would be targeting not say out of 20 questions, even if you target 12 to 13 questions, and in the 20 minutes, let's say you give 20 minutes and target 12 to 13 questions, you can complete the entire VA section plus the entire LR section. Okay, so this strategy definitely helps, right? इस बार quant difficult था, maybe next time they give LR difficult, quant easy हो सकता है, right? It is quite possible that LR might be difficult this time and quant is easy. So what happens, right? If someone goes कि चलो मैं blindly LR करता हूँ, they will end up losing a lot of time. But going by this strategy, you will be able to understand that okay, quant generally questions are difficult in the paper or easy in the paper. I should give more time to this section, right? So as I said that verbal generally takes 7 to 8 minutes because there is no RC, right? These are straight questions, grammar based questions, vocab based questions. So it is either you know or you do not know, right? So in my opinion, a quick student can even complete in 5 minutes or at max 7 to 8 minutes. A good student should be able to do that, right? So now you're left with around 50. Let us say you take 8 minutes. Okay, so you're left with 52 minutes. So it depends, right? As I said that going by this strategy, we'll be able to identify that which is easy, which is difficult. So you can decide ki, let's say 52 minutes, so you can decide कि LR को 30 देना है, quant को 22 like 21-22 minutes बाकी LR को देना है, so that you can distribute accordingly, right? After giving 10 minutes, you realize that quant is not worth spending time, so I'll give 10 to 12 minutes more to quant, and the remaining paper I'll focus on reasoning section. Or the other way around, let's say LR turns out to be difficult, but LR has 25 questions also, right? So you decide, okay, I will give 25 minutes, 24 or 25 minutes to LR, and I will give around 27-28 minutes to quant, so that I balance my score. Okay, so that is how you have to be in the paper. Okay, so an important thing is that do not take any section lightly. Okay, some students thought that okay, quant snap में तो आसानी आती है, right? But this time it turned out to be bit difficult, right? There were a couple of good questions, even the arithmetic questions. I remember one of the questions, they were quite good, like time and work question. Instead of asking he completes in this many days, they gave a puzzle like that there are some people, and on even days the number of people gets increased by 2, on odd days it gets decreased by 2, or some sort of thing like that. Okay, and even in other topics also there were some tricky questions. Okay, so do not take any section for granted. Do not go by any mindset that this section to aasan aata hai. Maybe this time LR might turn out to be very difficult. Okay, so be prepared for any of the worst possibilities. Okay, now one typical characteristic of snap is, even if you go through past year papers, right, even last year, some of you might have written it last year also, there is one common property which is persistent in snap for many years, is there are a lot of questions that have none of these as the answer, right? At least 4 to 5 questions. There could be even more also, right? There could be some questions which have none of these as the answer. Okay, now this could be spread across sections. हो सकता है कि quant में कोई question हो सकता है. It can be some LR question, right? So what is required here is self-confidence, right? Never doubt yourself, right? If your concepts are clear, you are getting none of these as the answer. So do not think here none of these और लाइक एक में आता है ठीक है लोग करते हैं, दो में आता है, देन दे स्टार्ट डाउटिंग कि यार इतने सारे क्वेश्चन नन ऑफ दीज कैसे हो सकते हैं. रिमेंबर दिस इज अ फीचर ऑफ स्नैप. Okay, many questions have none of these as the answer. Okay, so every time, every year they give such kind of questions, so never doubt yourself if you have applied it correctly. Because why do they give, what is the psychology behind giving none of these as the answer is people will redo that question. They will say कि अरे none of these आ रहे हैं, चलो फिर से करके देखते हैं. In this way they end up spending more time on a question that should have been done and marked in the first attempt itself, right? If none of these is an option, that is an answer, that is a possible answer, I mean. Okay, so do not doubt yourself. If you get none of these answer, that is a normal thing in snap. You might encounter a handful of questions, so remember this thing. Okay, okay, now this is another possibility. Okay, there can be incorrect questions in the paper, as was the case in the first lot. Right, remember like how many of you wrote that yesterday? There was a question on that ball bouncing, right? The same question was asked in snap as well. The answer was incorrect in the examination, right? Usme values, but in ZAD you had 3 meters, there they had given 300 meters or 300 centimeter or something, right? So instead of 3 there were, the number was 300. So yesterday you must have figured out the answer 27, right? The answer then in that examination would have been 2700, but there was no option 2700. Okay, so there can be incorrect questions in the paper. Now sometimes it happens as like see, how did I mark that question, that what are the possible ways of incorrect thing they might have taken, right? They might have taken that the ball is not bouncing back, they have not counted the to and fro movement. Okay, so that's why they might have chosen 15, so I marked 1500 as the answer in that case. Okay, so ideally I don't know if they would consider some they should have some window for like objections, answer, they should ask people to object for those incorrect questions, because it is unfair on the part of students, right? So maybe a person knows and spends a lot of time on solving questions, and although that was not a very lengthy question, but it happens at times. Okay, so be prepared for that as well. So do not panic agar ek question aisa mil bhi jata hai, skip that question, there are plenty of questions, right? Instead of breaking your head on one question ki yaar ye ek galat question hai, isme kya karu kya nahi karu, just skip that, right? It is the more time that you spend thinking on that, instead of that spend on solving some other question, right? Maybe you will get two correct answers, right, instead of thinking a lot about that question. So be prepared that there can be incorrect questions also. Okay, so there are certain important topics that are generally asked. Okay, like I have written like twice last year, once this year. Okay, and seen past papers also, right? So those are the things that you need to take care of, right? Yeah, so do not try a question multiple times. Okay, that's what I said, that please have confidence in yourself, right? If you're doing it correctly, know that yes, it is going to be correct. So I'll cite an example, right? I was writing CAT 2020. Okay, there was one 4-set Venn diagram question, right? So what was the case was, the values that were given in the instructions were 2-digit numbers, and one of the values we had to calculate from the total. Okay, because we had to insert all the values and then subtract from the total to get the value, and that value was a 3-digit number. Okay, so I knew that yes, I have applied everything correctly, I've read each and every statement correctly, why should I recheck it? And there were many people who solved that question again in order to verify that yes, that is the correct answer or not. Okay, sometimes we assume yaar ye itna bada answer kaise aa sakta hai, ye itna chota answer kaise aa sakta hai, right? If you are following the right methods, you should get the answers right. Okay, so make sure that there should be minimum instances of you solving a question again in the paper. Okay, so once you solve, just move ahead. Okay, because that gives you time to attempt more questions. Now there are certain topics that are frequently asked in snap, and you should have good understanding of those. Maybe you might get easy questions, right? Some questions could be difficult as well. Okay, so first is number and alphabet series. Good number of questions, at least 4 to 5 questions you can expect. ठीक है, क्वांट में भी आ सकता है एक नंबर सीरीज या दो नंबर सीरीज, रीजनिंग में तो आता ही. So total you can expect around close to 5 questions on these topics. Okay, now remember that one or two out of these could be trap in the sense they will give you some very absurd logic that could not be figured out instantly. हो सकता है कि ऐसा कुछ ऐसा लॉजिक लगा दिया जो समझ में ही नहीं आता है, राइट? और इट हैपेंस दैट वे आल्सो. मे बी यू आर गुड एट रीजनिंग, फाइन, you can identify things good, but the logic might be easy but may not be evident to you. हो सकता है वो बाकी टेस्ट टेकर्स को इजी लगे बट आप उसमें फंस सकते हो, राइट? इट इज क्वाइट वेरी वेरी पॉसिबल. Okay, sometimes what happens is like it's a psychological phenomenon also, right? We keep some things, we forget those, right? Although we keep it at some very obvious place, but we are unable to see that. होता है कि नहीं? जैसे like sometimes what happens with me is like, let's say I have a water bottle kept near me, but I start finding it at some other place, right? I think that where is it? I mean I'm just, so that such kind of scenarios happen. ठीक है, ऐसा हो सकता है कि वो आसानी से figure out हो सकता है but you are unable to get those. So the thing is, if you are able to figure out the logic, right, just do it and move ahead. Okay, then grammar based questions. So I would recommend you to practice some questions on sentence correction, right? Use of prepositions, use of like different things, conjunctions, right? इस बार पूछा था ना इसमें conjunction क्या है, right? Prepositions based, fill in the blanks, right? So grammar, like it could be error correction, it could be grammar based fill in the blanks, it could be questions based on prepositions, conjunctions, etc, etc, plus some questions on phrase. I think this time they did not ask question on phrase, but they do ask one or two questions on meanings of phrases as well. So do brush up your grammar skills, because in vocab, like if you talk about the VARC section, RC to hota nahi, it's completely VA, so you do get a good number of questions from grammar. So if your grammar skills are polished, you can do them. I mean, you can get accuracy in those questions. See, speed is not the issue in English, right? All those questions are either you know or you do not know. ठीक है, 5-7 मिनट में मैक्सिमम सेक्शन कंप्लीट हो जाना है, राइट? Who have advantage in this section? Whose grammar vocab is good. ठीक है, grammar plus vocab ही तो है, isn't it? It is grammar plus vocab, the verbal section, right? So vocab cannot be built within a few days, right? Vocab is something that you build over time. ठीक है, ठीक है, you can brush up things, but grammar तो revise कर सकते हो ना? I mean, you can revise things, sit for some days, I mean, just go through the rules and practice some questions. That can be, I mean, this can be improved faster than this. Okay, so that's why I would recommend that brush up your grammar as well. And clocks and calendars, बहुत easy question आता है, right? But कुछ लोग ऐसे होते हैं जिनको बिल्कुल ही concept ही नहीं पता रहता है, right? There are some people who ignore this topic. वो सोचते हैं यार clocks and calendars बाकी किसी में तो पढ़ा नहीं हमने, इसके लिए क्यों पढ़े? So please make sure that इसके question कर लेना. This time also they had 4 questions on clocks and calendars, 2 on clocks, 2 on calendars. बहुत easy question आया था. It's like free hits. Okay, बहुत आसान आया था. I mean, you can straight away found those. So clocks में what type of questions they ask? कि angle between hands, right? Angle between hands. दूसरी category होती है question की they have what do they give? Basically they give you the overlap or opposite, right, or right angle. They say that the hands are overlapping, opposite or at right angle, and they ask you to find the time, right? Or the third category is slow and fast clocks. So these are the categories of questions you get. 3 तरह की category होती हैं. Practice some questions, you get done with it, right? Even if they ask somewhat moderate to difficult, you can do these. Okay, and calendars, Calendars also, they might give you like it could be easy. See, calendar is of course finding out the day. Okay, so it could be easy, it could be difficult also. So read about like leap and non-leap year, leap year and non-leap year. Okay, be aware of the number of days in different months. ये चीजें याद करके जाया करो. Okay, so these things you should know that number of days in different months so that you can easily do these calculations. Clocks and calendars questions, no one should get them incorrect. Okay, you should be prepared with these questions because aane hi aane, it's certain that you will get questions. Okay, and in alphabet series, especially alphabet series, or I would say that coding decoding ke liye bhi, one thing that you should prepare for is your alphabet this thing, order of alphabets, quite important. कई बार कोडिंग डिकोडिंग पे क्वेश्चन आता है. आई मीन नंबर अल्फाबेट सीरीज 5 आएंगे, कोडिंग डिकोडिंग पे भी 2-3 क्वेश्चन आ जाते हैं in reasoning. Now these are some easily doable questions, right? Coding decoding में क्या आ जाएगा, the alphabets are being increased by 3, right? Alternate increase decrease, कुछ भी logic लगा सकते हैं. Let's say first letter increasing by 3, second letter decreasing by 2, third letter increasing by 3, and so on. Or first 4 letters reversed and increased by 1, last 4 letters reversed and decreased by 1. Whatever logic, right? So order of alphabets, if you know, like A is the first alphabet, right? B is the second one, C is the third, and so on, right? So you can get those logic based questions in coding decoding. So these are topics that are certain. Okay? Coding decoding, number alphabet series, isse question aate hi aate hain. Apart from that, blood relation, see, there are a lot of topics, but these are easy, these can be mastered very easily. Okay, so that's why I recommend that please be prepared with these topics. Okay, so expect a good number of questions from these topics. Okay, so these were some of the things that you need to keep in mind in order to tackle the examination. Give some time to each of the 3 sections to identify the difficulty level, right? There is a saying called testing the waters. Okay, so I hope you know the meaning, right? So give some time to each of the sections, especially to your quant and reasoning. Give 10 minutes so that you know कि अच्छा इसमें quant difficult है या reasoning difficult है. तो easy वाली pick करनी है, जो section difficult है try to do it later. Okay, and verbal, as I said that practice a good number of grammar questions so that you get the confidence यार कि time लगना नहीं है, it is matter of accuracy. If you are well prepared with all those stuff, you can easily score marks in. So it is like a scoring section if you are good at it. Okay, so people who are good with grammar skills tend to do well in snap because they hardly see. Time is not the issue for both the people, right? The ones who have good grammar and vocab as well as the ones who are poor at that, right? So the ones who are good get an advantage क्योंकि यहाँ तो RC पढ़ने नहीं है ना, so time बहुत जल्दी score कर सकते हैं आप. Like you can score like 12 to 13 marks in just a matter of 5 to 6 minutes in verbal. So imagine that it is much more better thing to do than solving up the quant section. Okay, so that's why I said that please focus on that. Quant ke liye, right? So quant is a mixed bag. Okay, so I would still recommend that do arithmetic well. Okay, arithmetic number system, right? They have ask a few questions on higher algebra. Okay, so basic algebra and those mensuration and all those things, right? So cover all those things, but arithmetic generally cover कर लें. Number system से भी good number of questions आ जाते हैं, like last digit or digit sum based, divisibility based. So number system plus arithmetic, I would say कि वो हो जाते हैं generally, right? You know the varieties of questions. Okay. So wish you all the best, right? We will be coming up with more sessions on this preparation. Okay. So just to tell you that we have launched this CAT PI VAT program. So in case you are preparing for the further stage, because cracking examination is one part, then converting the B school is the bigger challenge. Okay, so like people who do well in the examination but are unable to convert into GD, convert the calls, they have a bigger heartbreak. Okay, so it will be taken by Srinivas sir and Gautam sir, who would be taking mentoring sessions for you. Okay, so this was a short strategy session, right? So I hope you found it useful, got some strategy things. Keep test all the sections and then decide which ones to go for. Right? Do not fall into trap, and some of the common topics that you should be targeting in the paper. And most importantly, do not go by any mindset. Right? Do not think कि यार मुझे quant अच्छी आती है तो let me do quant only. No, it is quite possible that a section might turn out to be difficult. So please give some time, test the questions, and then decide that which section you need to score more. Okay, because see, there is no sectional cutoff. One thing that you should remember is there is no sectional cutoff. अगर ऐसा हो सकता है your quant and reasoning is very good, okay, your verbal is very poor, so you can decide कि verbal में ज़्यादा करने नहीं है, ठीक है, you can take I mean, although you will take more time in solving questions, you can skip the risk of getting incorrect answers and spend more time on the other two sections and score well. Okay, so all the best for the examination, and thanks for watching this video. Have a great day ahead. Goodbye.